Well, it finally happened, fellow YouTuber. It hasn't happened to me in years, but it finally happened. You know, they say that once you're addicted, it's impossible to stop. Boy, I'm finding out that that's true. I wanted to share this with you because you've been so patient and so understanding and hanging with me through all these vlogs. But, yeah, it happened over the weekend. Haven't done it in years. But boy, once you create the monster, you gotta feed it, don't you? I went record shopping. Don't look at me! First off, fellow YouTuber, I really want to apologize for not posting for so long, but because of the podcast and my special holiday project,
This is Classic Christmas.
time's really been at a premium. If you're a regular viewer, you remember that in the last vlog, I had bought this! Yes, the old reliable Audio-Technica LP120 USB. And I bought it so I could catch up on some of my mother, Elmira Wrestler's old recordings, which, by the way, I did obtain a copy of Hansel and Gretel, and I do appreciate everybody helping me out for finding this. Now, that brings us to present day. Over the weekend, I did something I haven't done in probably 30 years, and that is I went vinyl shopping. Now, you may be asking yourself, why are you buying vinyl? That's such an old format. Well, regardless of what anyone tells you about age, vinyl is actually a timeless format. In fact, it's making a comeback. Forbes magazine recently reported that vinyl sales may top $1 billion in 2017, making it the biggest year it's had since 1981. Plus, you may not know this, but in 2016, vinyl sales actually outsold digital downloads in the UK. Shows you what the English people know. But I digress. So, what treasures did we uncover? Let's dig in. First is an album that I had in high school. I don't know if it was ripped off from me or I sold it, but hey, it was the 70s, who's to say. I had a big Chicago fetish going for the first 5 albums. It was actually Chicago 6 that I strayed away from the band because they suddenly turned into the Pete Cetera factory of hits. In fact, they got so bad that even Pete Cetera left the band. Nonetheless, this is probably my favorite out of all of them. This is the 4th album, Chicago at Carnegie Hall. This is a 4-album set that just shows the band at the height of their power, playing all of their big hits. Now, the funny part about this is the fact that even the band didn't like this album, but I think it's their best, only in that it has one of the greatest performances of the late, great Terry Kath on guitar that you're not going to find anyplace else. And besides, $5 for 4 records? What, are you kidding me? Now, granted, it didn't come with the cool book and the mega gigantic poster which covers half of Tennessee, but hey, who's complaining? I'm in it for the music. Next is kind of an obscure group that was big on the East Coast between the late 70s and early 80s. Only had one gigantic hit in 1981. The band's called Duke Jupiter, and they had a really big hit with a track called I'll Drink to You in 1981. Always loved this particular track. And actually, I bought the album for just the single. Some people actually did that back then. And besides, it was only $4. You gotta love it. Now, a little bit of politically incorrect guilty pleasure. What do you expect from Gainer and Leigh? I mean, come on. Back in 1960, there was a comedian by the name of Bill Dana who had a wonderful character by the name of Jose Jimenez. And he made a couple of albums. This album actually my father had, and I remember him playing this as a child. It's an album called Jose Jimenez, the Submarine Officer. In today's politically correct climate, there's no way this album would sell, I promise. But if you can get past the politically incorrect Hispanic stereotype, there's really some great material on here. Now, if you're a rock and roll oldies fan, you cannot do without this in your library. The Drifters' Greatest Hits. All of them are on here. There Goes My Baby, Sand in My Shoes, Save the Last Dance for Me, Under the Boardwalk. You can't go wrong with this album. Now, as I said before, I'm also getting into my Christmas project.
Classic Christmas.
So, In order to do that, I had to pick up a couple of special surprises. And trust me, this one is going into heavy rotation this year. The Beach Boys Christmas album. Brand new, still in the original shrink wrap, never been opened, and all the hits are on here. Little Saint Nick, Santa's Beard, The Man with All the Toys. Just a terrific album. If your Christmas rock and roll collection does not have this album, you're missing out on a lot. Trust me on that. Only $4. Now, if you're an older fan of what I call the classic Christmas,
Playing your all-time holiday favorites.
see what I did there? You're gonna know this series. The Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company in the 60s came out with a series of albums that they would give away or sell for about $1.50 at their Goodyear stores every year between 1960 and 1970. This is volume 9 of that collection of the great songs of Christmas. Now, a lot of record collectors know that these albums can go anywhere between $10 and $50 on eBay. In fact, I saw an entire set of this on sale for about $200. So don't get mad at me when I tell you that this was only $4. Again, I have to turn to a guilty pleasure. When I was a kid, this album would play at my house every year at Christmas time when we put up the tree. Now let's think back to 1961. This was the time of David Seville recording Witch Doctor and Alvin and the Chipmunks with the Christmas song. Everybody suddenly had a high-pitched Christmas album. This was one of them. This is an album that's kind of hard to find these days. This is an album that was recorded in 1961 for Premier Records. It's called Woody the Woodchucks Christmas Sing Song. Yeah, it's just a bad version of Alvin and the Chipmunk. But again, it's sentimental value to me because this album would play every Christmas and let me know that it was the holiday season. So there's that. Finally, my crowning achievement. I am so glad I finally got a vinyl copy of this album. Mantovani's Christmas Carols. Now, anybody who is a big fan of the older Christmas music knows just how monumental this album was. It was recorded in mono back in 1955, and I think it was around 1958 that they finally released a stereo version of this. This is the stereo version. I'm going to find a mono version of it one day. I'm so proud to say I've got this album, and this is going in heavy rotation this year, to be sure. Now, I've heard so many stories about how people clean vinyl. Mind you, back in my day, there was no such thing as washing records. That was absolutely unheard of. You just threw them on the record player and away you went. But these days, the audiophile cleans the records, and there's so many different variations on that theme. Soap and water, isopropyl alcohol, wood glue? Really? So in our next vlog, we're going to take the oldest record that I've got and we're going to clean it with one of the methods. And we're going to see if it actually works. So I hope you stick around for that. And I'm glad that you stuck around for this one, fellow YouTuber. Thank you so much for watching. I certainly do appreciate it. If you like it, you know what to do. We'll see you next time. Hey Simon, do you like the way I worked into the vlog this time?
Fuck off.
God, what a hothead. Jeez.